Hi there everyone, and welcome to the Abyss Actor replay video. We're just going to get straight into it here with the game against Despia. You can see I've opened up two Abyss Actor cards, but they're not OTK combo. However, I do have a few board breakers here, so if we just let them build a board, we'll see what we can do. The only Omni negate that I can see that they would put up here is the Dragoon, which means we can just Gamma Seal the Dragoon and then hopefully use our Interrupted Kaiju Slumber from there. This should also hopefully trigger off some monster effects that allow us to use our Triple Tactics talents to draw two more cards in this situation, and that might help us draw into our combo. Unfortunately, drawing the Extrav is a bit annoying as it's not the start of our main phase 1, but this still does give us OTK. I scaled the Curtain Raiser here instead of the Superstar because it's less vulnerable to interruption, because if the Superstar gets hit, if the Superstar is in scale and gets hit, then I'm stuck with a scale 0 to 3, which isn't very good. And here, I've got enough on game just to push for OTK. Next up, we're against a Sword Soul deck. Again, we've opened up a Kaiju, which is really nice, Extravagance, which hopefully will draw us into some more board breakers. We do have OTK combo here with the Comic Relief and the Madonna, so let's see what kind of board they put up. Fairly standard Sword Soul place here. So we draw into talents, which again is really good. Let's see if the Extrav goes off. The negate, so it means we've got rid of their Omni negate. Now here, if they didn't have back row, I'd probably look at their hand, but fortunately I was able to draw into the Feather Duster and Gamma Seal their last interruption. Now I can just use my OTK combo with Comic Relief, and because we drew the Abyss Tainment, I don't even need to get the Superstar, which is quite nice. And from here, just activate the Abyss Tainment, summon out all my monsters, and push for game. And there you go. This next one, this is against Virtual World. So they made me go first. This was game 2, I believe, so they knew what they were up against. So I'm just trying to put up a board here that stops me from being OTK'd, and I'm just trying to recur resources as well, while setting up for the next turn. And they gammoned here, which was unfortunate, but at least we got it out of the way, and they won't recur it next turn because it'll be banished, so that's very nice. And we still get to put up some form of wall going first. So 3 monsters, and if one gets destroyed we get a search, so it's not too bad. And then by activating Prosperity means we're definitely not going to be OTK'd here, as it's only half damage, and Virtual World doesn't always have an easy time when OTKing. But yeah, this was a Sword Soul Virtual World variant, which was a bit weird, but still pretty good from what I can see. We just let them go through their turn. Now, as you can see, this is by no means a poor board that they're putting up here. I think a Shen maybe would have been better for them here if they could have gone into that, as opposed to that weird Xyz monster, because now we can hopefully push for OTK. So yeah, as I said, this is game 2, so I'd already sided in the Lancia as well. But that's them negating our Hyper Director. We use Madonna, search out Superstar, this will help us get to Rise of the Abyss King. So I popped my own, got rid of my own Wild Hope here so I could scale a Superstar from deck to get my Rise of the Abyss King out of the deck after they negated it. This will just allow me to destroy their board, and as you can see, they don't really have that many things that they can interact with me, so I'm pretty good. I've also got Lancia for the follow-up, which turns off the Virtual World engine. And we still have some form of comeback here, but their banish does not include 2 Virtual Worlds, so the Chuche is pretty useless here. So now I just go the easiest way, that is to OTK, and that's to bring up my Superstar, and then do the usual combos from here. So we swap the 2 Comic Reliefs, choose the monster with the highest attack always, because that just helps you push for a bit more damage if they have some form of interruption that you maybe didn't anticipate. So it's just a good rule to always follow. And yeah, we just pop all the cards, Rise of the Abyss King, don't have to worry about any banishing, because They got nothing. So yeah, this next game is another game against Despia. We seem to have quite a good matchup against this deck, and as you can see I have drawn 2 1-ofs, which is very lucky. However, I don't actually have a second Abyss Actor in my hand yet, so there's not much I can do to follow up if I do manage to get anything through, so we'll see what we do here. There's the Phoenix Enforcer. Another advantage of running Kaijus is you get around the Phoenix Enforcer's recursion effect because you don't destroy it by battle or card effect, you just send it for the tributing costs. And I call by the Phoenix Enforcer here as well, just in case I don't OTK, because I have opened up my Comic Relief on Madonna. So I use the talents there to look at my opponent's hand, because I've got rid of their back row, I've got my OTK combo, so I just look at the hand to make sure there's no hand traps that can interrupt me, and from here it's a guaranteed win because I know exactly what they've got. So it's just a case of remembering the combo, but luckily this is the easiest one to remember. And send the lowest attack Kaiju back to the grave. And yeah, from here, just an easy OTK. So this was game 2 against this Despia player, and they've made me go first. Now my goal here is just to put up as many Abyss Actors in front of my Pendulum Scales as I can, just to try and survive the turn. I've opened up 2 Hatred Nades here to try and deal with the back row that they set, so we'll see if it's enough. Yeah, unfortunately this deck doesn't really interact with the opponent on their turn, so you have to, if you can't OTK, you just have to try and put up some sort of wall. It looks like they've not opened that well, which is quite lucky for me. The Phoenix Enforcer destroying Madonna is annoying, and it will come back next turn, so I hopefully will draw something to deal with it. Yeah, the Kaiju Slumber will do nicely. You want to bait out the spells before you go for the Kaiju Slumber, because they do have fusion spells that are quick plays, so they can potentially summon out those fusion monsters by banishing, which I know Despia does, so it's nice to get their whole board out and then you go for the Kaiju Slumber. Here again, we go for the Comic Relief and Superstar OTK, really easy. I just searched the Comic Relief there to try and bait out maybe an Ash Blossom if they had that in their hand, so it allows my Abyss Tamer to go through. And here we just search Rise of the Abyss King, and we pop the 2 monsters they have, and we have enough for game here. And yeah, they surrendered. So this next match is against Flunderies, and this is quite an interesting one because they brick, and I know they can't OTK. Well, Flunderies really struggles to OTK, so I just bide my time. I let them do what they want. We'll see what they do here. So not much, and again, I know that they can't OTK, especially if they bricked, so I'm just passing my turn. This might not be the best play in all cases, but I've played against quite a lot of Flunderies recently, and I noticed that going first, or at least their turn 1, not going first, turn 1 they can't really OTK you, so you are safe. So I'd much rather allow them to build their board and then break it, and as well, I've bricked 2, so although I can break a board with this hand, I can't actually follow up with it, so I may as well wait. So I'm quite lucky in this regard, but you may as well take the Duelist starting from this turn, I guess. Okay, so now we've drawn something to play with. Let's bait out their back row. Let's see what they summon. So they summon the Avian. I'll end up Kaijuing the Avian, and I can use my Rise of the Abyss King to pop the M-Pen. The Kaiju Summoner there baited out the Ash Blossom, which is nice. Let's our Madonna resolve. I can go for a Comic Relief, which is nice. Unfortunately, we don't have a way to search out another copy of Comic Relief here, but we do have a way to steal their M-Pen. Now I didn't OTK here, but this is a benefit Abyss Actors have. If you can steal some powerful boss monster, but you can't OTK, sometimes sitting on that boss monster, especially a Floodgate, such as the M-Pen, then it's nice. Oh yeah, the Emperor won't actually stop the attack position monsters because they were not normal summon. Sorry, they weren't special summoned, which is fine. However, they've absolutely torn apart our board here. Let's see if we can make some form of comeback. Fortunately, they haven't put too many interruptions up. In fact, they haven't put any, so it does allow me to build the board back for free. And because I got the Abyss Tainment set, I can really just steal this win by summoning out rest. Yeah, they surrender. So this was the third game, I believe, as I went to game 3, and this one they don't really open too well either. You would have seen the Wind Barrier statue there, which is a really annoying card to deal with, which is why running Superstar and running Rise of the Abyss King is super important for searching out Rise of the Abyss King or just hard drawing it, because that's a really good out to the Barrier statue before you commit to anything on your board. See here, this is not a Flundry's hand that is bricked, so they're doing very well. So the called by completely useless offensively against Flundry's, it was just because I knew they run hand traps, so I kept it in. Now I'm essentially playing blind into this board because I do not have anything to remove the back row. They have searched out the Wind Barrier statue, but they go for the Avian instead, so I can bait that out. I went for the Wild Hope there as well, just in case they were maybe tempted to negate it with the Avian. I want to try and avoid normal summoning it to stop their field spell from triggering. So again, you can see the problem with not having any sort of interruption on your opponent's turn. Luckily this isn't a deck, again, that OTK, so having this kind of follow up on the clapback isn't too bad, but it's still annoying. And against a deck that is less control focused, this would be probably the end for us, but we'd also have more options to play into the board. Yeah, we're only left with one set Comic Relief. Fortunately, if we're allowed to, we can... Oh yeah, they pop the Wild Hope instead, which is a mistake on their part, but they do negate that with the Avian. So I need to top deck an Abyss Actor here to have a chance or something, and Extras is the perfect one to top. So I can go into my Hyper Director here, and then use Extras to scale a Madonna from the deck, search something good out, and then hopefully be able to push for a game. Now the Madonna will allow me to special summon another Abyss Actor from deck, Wild Hope use the attack boost, and then boom. Now this next one is against Sky Striker. So I passed going first because I knew I was against Sky Striker, and I know they can't OTK me turn 1 really. So I was happy to buy the turn and play into the board. The Kaiju is very effective because it turns off all the spells and traps, but then when they brought out Fusion Destiny, it makes the Kaiju target a lot more obvious. So start off using Extravagance because you have to use that at the start of your main phase 1. I get Darla the Phoenix Enforcer and give myself a bigger Kaiju. I've now got... So my opponent here knew what was happening, so they actually impermed the Comic Relief monster, which is fine because it still means I baited it out, so allows me to go through the rest of my plays. And you can see here as well, the Kaiju being on 3/3 allows me to have such a bigger punch. And there, OTK. So that's the deck list profile. Just so you can all see, I did showcase it in my deck profile, but yeah, if you want to see some of the explanations for the cards I run, feel free to watch the first video, and thank you very much for watching.